Most of us think compulsively all the time. That is to say, we talk to ourselves. If I talk all the time, I don't hear what anyone else has to say. If I think all the time, that is to say, if I talk to myself all the time, I don't have anything to think about except thoughts. And therefore, I'm living entirely in the world of symbols. Therefore, if you meditate for an ulterior motive, that is to say, to improve your mind, to improve your character, to be more efficient in life, you've got your eye on the future and you are not meditating. Well, meditation, when correctly done, has nothing to do with all that. It's a kind of digging the present. It's a kind of grooving with the eternal now. The place where it's at is simply here and now. If you simply close your eyes and allow yourself to hear all the sounds that are going on around you, just listen to the general hum and buzz of the world as if you were listening to music. Don't try to identify the sounds you hear. Don't put names on them. Simply allow them to play with your eardrums. It's all just sound. And if I am talking to you right now and you're doing this, don't try to make any sense out of what I'm saying, because your brain will take care of that automatically. You don't have to try to understand anything. As you hear sounds coming up in your head, thoughts, you simply listen to them as part of the general noise going on, just as you would be listening to the sound of my voice, or just as you would be listening to cars going by or to birds chattering outside the window. So look at your own thoughts as just noises. And soon you will find that the so-called outside world and the so-called inside world come together. They are a happening. Your thoughts are a happening, just like the sounds going on outside. And everything is simply a happening, and all you're doing is watching it. It's all just sound. The place where it's at is simply here and now.
What is going on this weekend, guys? Memorial Day weekend. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic start to your Memorial Day weekend. Wanted to talk about a lot of potential kind of altcoin gems, right now. It seems like we may have some, I started DCAing I took a break from DCAing, kind of when halving happened. Then now prices on a lot of things are slightly lower, at least from what they were in halving. So going to DCA in likely until the end of June. So I think it's a pretty important point to kind of get in, I think. So yeah, I mean, when we look at, there's a lot of coins. If you guys have any things, we'll look at them. I'll show you, let's see, there was an outcome on had the Cardano long that did pretty well the other day. That was stopped out in profit, I believe. Although I wouldn't bet against this just yet. I do think Cardano, it is questionable. We're on the holiday weekend, lower trading volume, but I do think Cardano could jump up a little bit. What's up, Eric? What's up, Austin? What's up, Victor? I think I've heard of this one. Yeah, that's a new one. Yeah, that could absolutely, break higher for obvious reasons. I mean, there and then there, yeah. You probably could get up to $1 eventually. I don't know much about this though. APT. Yeah, I mean, for fundamentals, I'm not the biggest, expert on that, but I do think until you don't have any major like worries on this until the weekly gives you a bear div, and even then you probably could continue potentially. I was looking at more of the ones that, you know, and forgive me if I sound a little nasally. Do have a mild cold right now, I think. And yeah, I mean, we're getting the trigger wave. It looks pretty much as good as possible, Zcash on the charts. You know, I think that I don't know if this is going to outperform Bitcoin. You know, it just keeps bleeding against it. But if it's going to bottom against Bitcoin, it's probably going to be around here. It looks like a lot of things might be, especially when you look at Bitcoin dominance. Now, when you look at, yeah, I mean, ETH versus, I mean, it does get concerning. You know, it does get concerning. Be careful out there with some of these. But I like the monthly, you know, confirm that monthly bull div. We still haven't, like, took that out yet. So, yeah. Render's another one that I wanted to look at. I think you're eventually probably at least going to get to 30 here. When we look at, that's, yeah, I think you'll break above these points. I think you probably will. I do like render, at least to a certain extent. You know, it could take some time, but I think you will. This pocket at 34 to 36 could be a potential top in the next year and a half. Big time. That's another one, man. That's another one that I want to look at because it's more inflationary. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I do think similar to ApeCoin, that could similar, yeah, with the pattern. Now, would I rather buy this or ApeCoin? To be honest, probably ApeCoin, but I see what you're looking at, and I think there's a lot of potential here. If you can get back up to these areas, you know, there's a lot here. There's absolutely a lot of potential. I do really like how it looks. I think this looks really good. Is it on Coinbase? Let's see, how do you buy this? Okay, not in Coinbase, but MEXC, you could get it. Yeah, you could get it some places, yeah. So yeah. And I'm trying to think what else is popping right now. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, let me just look at in terms of smaller caps. XPRT, this could be a hidden gem right now because you're looking at, you know, that's coming up. You know, you're getting that hidden bull div, on the weekly. I do think this has some potential here to jump, and that could be a 40%. I mean, if we can get back up to our yearly highs from January, you're looking at 150%. So that could absolutely be somewhat significant here, at least. It could be pretty good. You know, the other is big time on Coinbase. Okay, it didn't come up there. Pepe, yeah, for obvious reasons. I mean, this has done well. I don't really see a major concern until we get that weekly bear div, and that may not happen until these prices. So I think it'll continue. I don't see anything concerning as of yet. I think Pepe probably will continue. I really like AVAX, as you guys know. You know, let me look at the Binance chart with a little more data. The big question here is we're taking our time trying to break through, 39. I think we could do it. I think we'll probably be able to pull it off. I think so. And yeah, that's what I think. True wave right there. I really like the weekly. I like the weekly here. I think we generally could do well. Big times on Coinbase. Okay, cool. That's good. That's good to know. It's good to know, guys. And if you guys are in the Discord, I will be putting the ones I DCA into. And I'll announce that, on Monday. I DCA every Monday. We'll be doing that probably until the end of June, I think. Maybe a little bit into July. We'll see where the market is. And yeah, some trade signals too in there if you guys are interested. And if you want one free month in there, if you sign up to any of the links down below, FAIRDESK is great. Bybit is great. You got a KYC on Bybit though, but any links down below, I will give you one free month in Discord. Just open a support ticket in the Discord with your UID and we'll get you sorted. So check that out. Yeah, a lot of people have really liked it. Trigger wave right there on the weekly on AVAX. I wanted to look at, so AVAX looks like it's doing well, forming that situation. I want to look at VeChain. I think VeChain could be one that really, because I think that, if you get that trigger, I mean, you're bouncing around. You're either going to break upward, back up to here, or break downward. I mean, it's not really looking like you would break downward. It looks more like a healthy correction. And, this is still down a good amount from, it's still down 39%. So I do think that you got some potential here. You definitely got some potential here. We looked at TAI. It was hard to read this, man. TARS protocol. I mean, trigger waves and such forming there on MEXC. It looks like it could do something. It's a weird one. Very small market cap. Maybe it'll come up. Hard to say. I mean, Dogecoin, I know people are excited about meme coins. Yeah, I think this will continue as well, generally. Probably up to those highs right there. In all likelihood, I would estimate. Let's look at XRP here a little bit. Bull dip forming, so I think XRP generally could continue forward here. XRP Bitcoin looks decent, but we know how that does historically. Big area, I don't know. I mean, trying to even, like, this is a weird one, man. I don't know. It's a weird one. And I'm trying to think what else. Blood diamond right there on Matic. Second time. I don't think you're going to lose that area, so I wouldn't be too concerned about Matic. I think I just want to look at like the Coinbase chart. First time there. I don't know if it's too concerning, but yeah, I guess there's always going to be a bear case. Matic Bitcoin is what we want to look at, and I do think that, yeah, do think he should bounce. Pith, not Pyth, Python. Piss on. So did I have another? Let's just go with this. So obviously hitting somewhat of a significant area right there. I just want to like see if a fib lines up with that. Yeah, okay, we should probably move that to, yeah, just move it to the fib level. So, you know, the general area is pretty significant here. Money flow coming up. Yeah, I mean, that's a bull pattern. I mean, I want to also look at, you probably could, if you break upward, yeah, I mean, your technical target's going to be, you probably will do something here. Yeah, sky's the limit. This could go up. Absolutely. Excuse me. Python. Guys, we're trading Python. Shrap. Binance is like one of those concerning ones, just, you know, where it's at. It probably will break upward because it always does, but, you know, man, that 2 week, if we compare it to there, ooh. What could Binance do? You know, 2,000. That'd be crazy. Probably 1,400, 1,000 to 1,500, I would guess. Gold always looks good. I'm not even gonna bother. Gold will probably just gradually, slowly go up or whatever. Shrapnel. Isn't that a metal? So yeah, I mean, you came down, trigger wave right there. That looks good, I would argue. You're down 73% from that area. Interesting. I don't know what I was doing with that, but that was a while back. Probably will get up to here at least, I would assume. You know, 16, that big area. If we also, I mean, obviously right here is going to be, yeah, those points right there. I mean, that was kind of that area bounce. That was pretty good. Yeah, I think you might have something here. Something could be brewing. Absolutely. Don't know much about this, but yeah. Cardano. So yeah, a Cardano I've been looking at. I mean, it's a little bit questionable. I don't really like the, you know, money flow in some of these, but the trigger waves forming, I would guess Cardano could jump here and continue to kind of play ping pong. It's kind of a trader's market with it a little bit, because I like the 8 hour, and if you look at some of these lower time frames, I mean, too choppy right now, but the trigger wave on the hourly potentially bringing you back up to, you know, that high right there. And if we were to, I mean, do something like this, you could get a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. You know, it depends what you're looking to do. I mean, 1-to-1 would be down there. But yeah, I do think Cardano is going to do pretty well. Cardano ETH I wanted to look at. Ooh, that is, yeah, that's a little bit. Let me look at it on the Binance chart. I believe there's more data here. Okay, so versus ETH, this would not be definitely not the strongest coin at the moment, but it could jump here. We'll see what happens. Against Bitcoin, it did look better. Game trailer on what? Oh, AVEX? Yeah, AVEX is going to do well, guys. I think AVEX is going to do very well. I mean, AVEX versus ETH is probably, all these look questionable against ETH at the moment. That is coming up there on the weekly. I do like that. So, yeah. Privacy coins, I think, will just follow the general market. I think there's, I think they're going to do generally pretty well. It's a gamble, but I would go with Zcash as a smaller market cap. I like how it looks a little bit more than Monero right now. So, yeah. You could also buy it on Coinbase. AVAX, yeah, because the ETH ETF, everything's, yeah. I think it's going to be a month or so before we could trade the ETH ETF. You read my mind. I was going to look at Aave. I do like Aave. I do think Aave is going to do pretty well here. I really like the trigger on the weekly that confirms tomorrow night. So Monday, might be a good place, to get in. A lot of these have the same kind of trade setup, guys. Like, I'm going to bother with that. But if we look at, what's the price? It's at 106 shit. It's pretty high up. Let's see. Oh yeah, you could get that would probably be the trade for this. That's over a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. I mean, you could be a little bit more conservative, do something along those lines. How about Aave? So the question here is Aave Bitcoin. Aave could be a sleeper. Aave Bitcoin a little. Ooh, that trends upward. Yeah. That must have went insane with the 50x against Bitcoin. I'd say it's a somewhat of a decent area. I like the weekly. Bull div there. Week we'd have to wait for. How about Aave ETH? Things look more questionable in their ETH evaluation. Yeah, freaking. Is there more data on Binance? Because that made a lower low. Well, not exactly. I mean, I would argue this, this area, that wick is the important thing to keep your eye on. The weekly, that weekly 2-week bull div on a lot of these could be what we're looking for. And this does, yeah. I think Aave is a good gamble right now. ApeCoin, you guys know I like ApeCoin. Well, at least I think it's a very good gamble. Weekly about to give you kind of that trigger wave. The thing with NFTs right now is it's kind of all or nothing. I think including ApeCoin. I mean, if you lose, I don't think you really, if you lose $1, I mean, never say never, but I don't know if you're really ever coming back to all-time highs. If you could get the double bottom here, the W pattern and theoretically, really break upward from this area, then you're looking at a big place, which is going to be, around, I would argue that wick is very significant right there. That kind of place, I would argue. Probably a little bit below it, but, around that $6 range. And that's a big, that's a big jump up, 300%. And if you get there, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good return. That could take time. If we look at, possible trajectory for this, I mean, end of year at the earliest, I would say. Early next year, So, yeah. And always appreciate if you guys special like button. If you guys are interested in Discord, where I give a lot of these trade setups, a lot of really good trade setups lately that I think could, do really well, especially for swing traders or people trying to hold for a while, doing kind of an MM crypto strategy a little bit. Now could be a time to do that in some altcoins. Just be careful with the fees. Link down below for the Discord if you want one free month. If you sign up to any exchanges down below, deposit at least $100. FAIRDESK is great. Bybit's great. MEXC is great as well. They all have pros and cons. The best one I would say for no KYC is FAIRDESK. That's the main one I've been using right now, but Bybit's good as well. Higher liquidity on Bybit. If you deposit at least $100 with my link and then open support ticket with your UID, I will give you one free month. So check that out if you guys are interested. Polkadot looking pretty good. I'm on the wrong. I want to look at the Binance chart, but this does look pretty good right now. especially that weekly. And that's that same kind of trade setup. And it could be, you know, one of those setups where you know, yeah, I mean, that's a good risk reward ratio up to there. It could be one where you really ride this up potentially, like that 8.1, that weekly too. Remember what I said, guys. Be cautious. Well, this one didn't have the bear dip, but a lot of them did. Be cautious kind of on this area and then get more greedy and get back in as the trigger wave comes back. So that's what we're looking for here, and we're getting that right now, which is really good. Now, what gets more depressing about DOT here is that when you look at DOT against Bitcoin, you're dead in the water. I mean, that's not good. And you look at DOT versus ETH, it's probably even damn worse. You know, not too bueno. So, yeah, you pick your poison. I mean, some of these, sadly, will never come back on their Bitcoin ETH evaluations. The 2 week on a lot of these is promising. You know, monthly could be promising, but we don't know what's going to happen here. Wanted to look at Potcoin was making a resurgence a little bit. Pot USD, Gate.io had it. Yeah, that was looking decent, but this is just pure gambling. I don't know why I like to look at it. It gives me nostalgia. Old meme coin. One of the setup, even if we take the low, yeah, you know, we'll eventually form that bullish div, but that bullish div don't always play out. Filecoin is a good one to look at. Let's take a look. Like a lot of other things, yeah, trigger wave right there. I think you could continue and come back to up to 11 potentially. File Bitcoin I want to look at. Yeah, that's where see it gets, everything looks good until you look at the damn ETH and Bitcoin evaluations and you're just like, fuck, you know what I mean? You're just like, should I have? I mean, here I would argue is a little bit better because you're, you know, that's a big point, but let's just move it down, you know. Maybe a higher low you're hoping for against ETH. I don't know. I mean, Filecoin, maybe it'll jump. We'll see. Phantom's been promising lately. Definitely more than some other things. Trying to make that comeback. I mean, you hit your technical target up here, then you rejected. Now you're trying to fight back. We'll see if we could, you know, keep going here. I don't know. Could be good though. Phantom Bitcoin probably looks better, I would argue. Yeah, sorta, kind of, sorta, yeah. There. Looking like you're making higher highs. I like how that looks. Money flow generally coming up. Yeah, generally is a good sign. Yeah, yep. So yeah. With here, Adam. So actually, let's finish looking at Adam before. Adam, concerning against Bitcoin and ETH, I'm not even going to look at those charts because they're depressing, but it does look good in the short term. I think you can come up here. Do like how this looks. AR, let's look at. That's a storage one, I believe, right? That has done pretty well. Looks like it's making higher highs. That does look generally decent as long as you could hold this area. As long as you could hold the area, you're looking at a technical. Well, let's do a fib first, and then let's look at the technical target here, guys. And let's see here to there. 80 bucks, 80 bucks, 80 bucks. 80 bucks could be that big place right there. I think it can jump up. CAS, yeah, let's look at CAS. That's definitely lost some popularity, I would argue. Trigger wave on the weekly. I think this is a good shot. I think this is on, is this on Coinbase? If it's not, I think it, oops, wrong one. But I think, you know, Decent shot at all-time highs again. I mean, if we were to do a fib, that's a 1-on-1 right there. I think you'd get that, probably. Probably would, not weekly. A lot of things look decent on the weekly. Why am I, like, why is my, I guess the Coinbase chart doesn't come up for some of these that are. That's got to be listed on Coinbase. Let's look at Dusk. I think I've heard of this one. Big area right there. If we can hold this, then you're looking at those highs again, like a lot of other things. A bit concerning on the monthly, I would argue, but I like that trigger wave on the 5-day. We looked at Pepe. I think it'll come up a bit more. Bonk still looks decent. You'll probably get to your all-time high, potentially even higher. You know, reverse head and shoulders. Potentially jumping even higher now. So, yeah. Maybe 100 to 200% gain in the next 6 months. So, yeah. I wanted to look at Shiba. Because, you know, you look at trigger wave and all that. The thing, too, SHIB, let's look at SHIB Bitcoin, and then we'll look at Shiba versus Doge. That's damn questionable, but you're hitting a big area, so you may get a jump here against Bitcoin. Shiba Doge, let's look at. That's another one that's interesting, kind of sideways. I don't know here. Don't know. Yeah, I mean, you're trying to form. Questionable on some of these, but I think you still have a decent shot of continuing forward. Especially if you look at $1.45, you might hit out of this. If you break out of this kind of area, you're in. I mean, maybe even a little bit more. But I would argue that's the next kind of big area, $1.45 or 43 or whatever, you know. Right there. Uniswap had to hit that first take profit on that setup that I was talking about. Yeah, I think you'll get to at least that point. Now, it looks like you retested kind of your big point over there. You're jumping back up now. Una did a lot and then came down a lot, so still down 40 something. So yeah, but I do think it's a decent buy. Now the question obviously is, I'm curious about, I don't even know how this chart looks. I have not looked at this chart in a while. That does look decent there. I mean, it made its lowest low of it in a few weeks ago or a month ago. So, I mean, but it does look like a good gamble against Bitcoin right now. Now, if we look at Uniswap versus Ethereum, that also may, yeah. 60, that looks damn good. That looks damn freaking good right there. I like that chart. Uniswap could be a really good buy right now. Actually, I want to write that down. Una. Also want to write down freaking or I wanted to look at H bar. Yeah, that's what I wanted to look at. A little bit weird. Definitely looks more bearish in the larger time frames compared to a lot of other things. But if you do break out of this formation, you're coming back up to 18, 19 cents. So a little bit weird on its own, you know, kind of respect. If we look at H bar versus Bitcoin, is that the best chart to look at that on? Here we go. That's probably better. Weekly blood diamond. I don't know. This could be fine after 2, 3 stride. The third one doesn't work as well. So yeah. Joe, I don't. Is this a meme coin? I don't know what this is. It sounds like a meme coin, right? Obviously, where we're hitting right now is a decent place. If you hold this, it would be pretty bullish, but I don't know really what's going to happen here. 5 grand worth of Joe is quite a bit. I don't know if I looked. Did I look at the Ape Bitcoin evaluation? I just wanted to see if anything was brewing there. Not too much. Is that 2 week we're hoping for? If you could hold there, yeah, we just want to hold. We want to hold this area. And then ApeCoin, ETH, we want to hold. There's probably, yeah, that's where it looks bad. But if you can, like I mentioned, I mean, if we draw this wick, if you could break back above that, that gets more bullish. But I mean, yeah, there's concerns. there's at least mild concerns here. So yeah. Largest DEX on AMEX. Okay. Why'd they call it Joe? Joe coin. Samo, I don't know much about this on Gemini. Could jump up higher. Wouldn't surprise me. Looks decent on that weekly, I would argue. Samo Bitcoin, let's look at. No, that's sand Bitcoin. Whatever. Speaking of sand. Yeah, it looks like a lot of other things. Trigger right there. It looks decent. Does look decent. You probably break upward out of that pattern. Yeah. Does look decent there. Movire. No idea what a Movire is. You guys always appreciate the likes and subscriptions. Subscribe to the channel. If you want 1 free month in the Discord, if you set up any links down below, deposit at least $100. I'll give you 1 free month. So yeah, just open a support ticket with your UID once you deposit. Injective, let's take a look. Could have some continuation if you hold this level. I think this one's more questionable though. Solana, I mean, I know what's that's going to look like. I mean, down a little bit. Hopefully you get a jump relatively soon. I don't know. So I was just curious about interest rates at the moment. That's still, I mean, that confirms in 6 days, that 2 week. If that does confirm, I would argue that's, more bearish sign for this. It's generally going to come down farther. Also TLT, obviously the inverse, that still looks pretty good. Inflation, I would argue we're going to be pleasantly surprised by inflation, where it's not going to be that bad, but I could be wrong here. Orange juice is the questionable one. That's not good, just keeps going up. But a lot of other metrics may cancel that out, you know what I mean? Trigger right there. Yeah, potential continuation. Let's see there. That's hidden bull div. I think Tau has got a shot maybe of doing something. Let me look at the MEXC chart. Yeah, I think you could probably come back up based on that in the weekly too. You probably could get a jump back up to these highs. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity in the market, I think, right now. Yeah, push it up to those. So yeah, I mean, GameStop. I mean, so far nothing. I don't think, yeah, so far we have generally just seen a fierce decline. This area that we are kind of jumping off of is somewhat significant, I would argue. Let me just see something here. Man, this thing was nuts. Trying to find, let me just, this would be a, yeah, I haven't looked at the, this would be a good place for a fixed range volume. Profile, okay, that's a lower one right there. It doesn't tell us much. 5-day not looking too good. I think this is a gamble, but you probably will come back down, I would assume. I don't know if they have the momentum here, but before that you may see some more relief. I would argue you would want to draw a level there, and then yeah. So when you look at some of these smaller time frames, it does look like you would jump up a bit, but I think it may be short-lived. I don't know. Hard to say. I mean, you're getting it at a 76% discount, so I would argue it would probably do something. I mean, a trade with this right now, what would maybe make sense, and I don't know if it'll play out. I have no idea, but something that's, yeah, maybe up to there. I mean, you could probably get a 3-to-1 like that, but a 2-to-1 would be up to $29. I think you might be able to get that with GameStop. And then DXY, I would, yeah, so we rejected from there. You zoom out, you look at the way of the money, it still looks more bearish. I would argue this would come down a bit farther, and markets would come up a bit more based on that. Some of the big boys, Apple stock, I mean, is that a hidden? Yeah, I would argue, no, from there it's not really a hidden bull div. Could get that trigger, I don't know. I do think when you compare Apple stock to a lot of the other big boys, it does look like it'll continue, but it's been so slow lately. Obviously, Tesla's a good one to always look at. I think this will probably do pretty well. I think the Tesla SPY evaluation was decent. How about Tesla Apple? Just curious if, like, that's similar to Tesla SPY, which is hitting a pretty big place right there. And I would argue that, yeah, you might be able to jump here. So Tesla could absolutely be a decent buy. I mean, you're down, how much are you down against Apple? 68%. So I could definitely be a decent buy here. I don't think you would lose this area. Could be wrong, though. Let's just look at regular Tesla again, like just some possibilities here. So you're going to get, yeah, that monthly bull div, which is good. I think if you break upward out of this area, or at least going to like 2 something, 230 potentially, and that could be a good jump, 30%. I mean, if you could come back up to these areas, 60% would be pretty good. So yeah. Oh, the dog path. Oh, wow. I didn't see that. It died. Oh, wow. I think it was a female, yeah. It's probably old. It's been so many years. When did that come out? 2013 or something? Oh, yeah, over 10 years. The dog was probably like 15 years old at least. That's funny. That's interesting though. Makes me feel old. British pound, US dollar. I think these would continue to do well against the US dollar as well, and I think all the tourism is probably going to bring them up a bit too. So yeah. 2014, okay. That was close. Because it came out during the bear market, that worked well. The thing too, like if you look at real estate, the Case-Shiller, I've drawn, yeah, what I was thinking is real estate, I think, is going to keep plowing for the next few years. Because, I mean, your first kind of target here is going to be just do traditional, simple TA. 340, about 7%. So you could probably see that within, I don't know, a couple years. A year maybe even. You're going to probably keep doing it. You get 5 to 10%, I think. I mean, I don't know what that, like, if you really, that's 20% there. I mean, you could even theoretically go higher. But I think that would be where, I just want to draw. That's our big place that I would think we'd at least kind of get up to this pocket. So yeah, 20%. Obviously, kind of depends where you are. I mean, excuse me. Miami housing futures went up even more now. Excuse me. Nice jump up higher. You probably level out a bit and then maybe even jump up higher. You probably just keep going until the end of the year, I would guess. I would kind of assume here. I mean, what would you be ahead? If you bought the dip in 22, you'd probably be ahead, what, 15%? 8% is after seller fees, so you got to get at least 10%. So you're ahead, but really you're only ahead 5% or more. But, I mean, in terms of rents potentially going up, I mean, in terms of renting it out and all that. Yeah, let's look at Quaint, yeah. I do think it's decent. I don't know if I like the damn monthly on this, but I do think it could be kind of a bottom signal. We'll see what happens. I think you could jump here. Chainlink, I think, is about to confirm its weekly trigger. Keeps going up. I think you're going to get up to those highs again potentially. So I do kind of like how Chainlink looks here. So yeah. Bitcoin dominance. This looks bearish. Yeah, that I think I would argue that looks pretty bearish. Total 3 minus, minus tether versus BTC. This 3 week, I think this is like, yeah, I mean, really going to start to, take off against Bitcoin. I think it could be bottoming out here. I think the 2 week is getting better. It was more questionable, but it is getting a bit better. Very sideways. You're either going to break up or break down. I'm kind of thinking break upward now, but anything could happen. In terms of the Fed right now, I think the first, I don't think they're going to do it, man, I don't think they're going to pivot until after the election. That's how Powell looks in partial AF. I think the next 2 times are pretty much a done deal of a pause. Unless things go down, like, significantly, I think you're probably going to see a pause. Keep seeing a pause. September is where it gets more questionable. If things go down, you would definitely see a pivot in September. But I don't know. Okay. What is the day of the election? That's going to be what? Is that on the same damn? It's probably the day after the election. It's November 6th. Yeah, they're probably going to do it right after the damn election. What is it? Election day. No. Okay, it's the 5th. Okay. So 2 days after, they're probably just going to do it. Look impartial as hell. Just pause until the election. Because usually after you pivot, things do come down a bit. So it might actually just keep going up until the damn... That's hilarious, though, if it does do that. That's pretty funny. So, yeah. Yeah, it might just keep going up until then. Just thinking what, yeah, no. But I would still think during that period of time, interest rates would be more bearish would go down to being stable. Everybody's traveling, yeah. Everybody's going to fucking Europe. Yeah, it's probably expensive as hell to fly now, too. Hmm. Thinking here. H bar Joe. Trading Joe, guys. We're trading some Joe. It's hot in Miami. That looks good in the 5-day. I think Gala will break upward probably. I don't hate Gala. I mean, Alluvium's its brother, I guess, you know, similar. Oh, you on the older. I would think you would hold here, yeah, and I think you'll eventually, because there ain't much in between. I mean, a 400%. I mean, you got a little bit, right? I mean, it's probably worth drawing it just because it's like far away, but what am I? Did I just? Hold on. I've clicked the wrong one. But I mean, something of that nature, 200%. You might get something here, definitely. Yeah, Alluvium. I think Alluvium, I think, has potentially more upside potential than Gala. I don't know. It comes. I don't know. Let's say there's a few like of the oldie ones from that era that were. I don't think this is gaming, but you know, that looks decent too. I mean, a lot of shit looks. A lot of the altcoins do look very good right now. That looks decent. VRA is another one that probably will jump here, I would guess. Again, I mean, that on its Bitcoin evaluation is probably god awful, but let's just see. Yeah, atrocious. VRA ETH, there's probably VRA, we could do it. Atrocious. ILV Bitcoin maybe a little bit. That's where it gets more, because if you're looking at Bitcoin dominance going down, that's where things get better. Gala Bitcoin, I would probably think that, yeah, similar. I kind of like the ILV one though better. Inflation, yeah. I don't think it's going to be where we're going to get a major like inflation scare. I think it's just, I think they're going to pivot after the damn election to make it look as impartial as possible. Just keep it sideways. Things gradually go up. Until then, you know, that's what it looks like they're going to freaking do, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, I would assume that gold and all the metals will not go up enough to give major inflationary scares. They'll go up, but nothing too insane. I mean, copper, is that at an all-time high? Okay, yeah. I think silver has probably the biggest upside potential here just because it's so much lower than its all-time high. But that shit went up quick, yeah. The big question on some of these, I mean, obviously, if you look at like silver versus Bitcoin, that is a big area. But is silver going to hold this area? You know what I mean? Probably not. It's probably going to go lower against Bitcoin, most likely, if you follow the trend. Same with gold versus Bitcoin. Can these outperform the S&P 500, though? That's where it gets more of a better shot, I would argue. You know, right there, you know, it's a nice pattern, potentially jumping upwards. So yeah, or just sideways, like it's been rats. Jeez. I am familiar with this. I thought it was 1,000 rats. I don't know. It's a meme coin. There's a lot of meme coins. Right there. I don't know. It could go up. I have no idea. Not a big rats guy, unfortunately. Not your rats expert. um, AMD, questionable on that monthly, but it'll probably keep going a bit more. NVIDIA will probably keep going up a little bit more, 1100. I mean, I don't even feel like looking at that. I've looked at it so much. Aerodome, I don't know much about this. It'll probably keep going on these trigger waves, though. Yeah. Did I look at Crow yet? I think Crow is lagging behind slightly. Not really. I don't know. I mean, trigger wave forming on the 5-day. That's going to be a hidden bull div. That could be good for Crow. The Crow Bitcoin evaluation, I wanted to take a look at that. I mean, as long as we hold here, it is a big place, and I would argue you got a good shot of jumping. Let me just look at maybe on a different chart. That's an interesting one. Let me look at Crow versus just it could go either way, but I do think you would jump up based on the way Bitcoin dominance kind of looks. So yeah, that's what I would argue. Yeah. There's not too much else to talk about at the moment, guys. We could look at some of the NFTs, which have, I think NFTs, you're getting to that all or nothing area. I mean, this doesn't follow Mutant Apes completely. That's going to confirm, though, in a day. I do think it could be a decent, I mean, NFTs in general, I was looking at some of the, charts. In general, they do look kind of bottomy, but it's, it's NFTs, So yeah, and I mean, if we look at, USD evaluation, I think was down to 5K at one point. Now it's up to 8K. I mean, you're still, I don't think you've still made a lower low on your USD evaluation. It's just a question of bottoming out against Ethereum. And you kind of want to do that sooner rather than later, obviously. I think based on this chart, it's kind of all or nothing. I mean, you're at 2 ETH right now. You're at 2, and so you're lower in this area, but it's still that general kind of area, so you could bounce. There's a few other ones. I mean, I just want to look at some of the other ones that were popular a few months ago, later last year. That's 1 ETH right there. Yeah. That point right there. 1 ETH right there. To that. Yeah, I mean, it's a good gamble, I guess. I mean, I don't know much about this, but what about the funny one, the creeps? Creeps, that's the one. There's a lot of creeps, but that is a weird ass chart. I don't know what the hell happened with that. 2 ETH. It was 5 ETH. I mean, you're getting into the correction. I don't know though. What was this right here? That's that big area, 2 ETH. So yeah, I just want to look at what that is in creeps by Overlord. So I mean, they're cheaper than a Mutant Ape at the moment. These ones crack me up. I feel like these have a future just because they're so funny looking. You want to get a one with you want to get a funny one, man. I want to get one like that. I don't know. What about, I mean, obviously you can't trade the Trump ones now. NVIDIA earnings. They were abysmal. Bad. No, not at all. They were pretty good. They were actually excellent. So it's Can't Buy Panda. Oh yeah, we looked at, oh yeah, how much are these? Okay. Oh yeah. That could be, I kind of like the Can't Buy Pandas. I mean, there are some smart people that like these. That could be a good gamble right now. That area. I do kind of like that area, so yeah. NFTs could do, the blue chip ones could do something. I mean, this is really, we're at the area where everybody kind of thinks they're dead. CryptoPunk's chart is, yeah, we're at 34 ETH. What are these 130? 100, yeah, you can't buy them on OpenSea, I don't think. 130K. Still a lot of money, jeez. Yeah. I mean, if we're looking at ETH evaluation, you know, E30 is right there. You could go down lower. I don't know if I really like this chart too much. I'm more of, I kind of have more faith in Yuga Labs a little bit than the CryptoPunks. FitFi, that's got to be something weird. It looks decent. I have no idea what this is or what it does though, but it looks like it could probably go up 200 or 300% here. That's obviously a very small market cap. So yeah. Bitcoin puppets, we could try to find those. Oh, these, okay. So they're the most traded ordinals at the moment. They've lost. They're hitting off at that point. I don't know. It's tough to say. It absolutely could be a bubble pop pattern. I mean, this crap was half a Bitcoin, so it went from like 30 grand to 9 grand. So it's more affordable. Bitcoin puppets. I don't know. Again, I mean, I like the kind of the blue chip Yuga Labs. That's the one I'd bet on, but these could do something. Absolutely, yeah. I would say the NFT space is probably the most risky part of crypto. I feel like this is the full send headers. Oh, interesting. Okay. Did these just come out? They probably just came out or something. No, they had them for a minute. They released them at a decent time too. Is that Kim Kardashian? Is that recent? The SEC charged her? When did that happen? I didn't know she had an NFT collection. What was the frickin' Moonbirds? That was Kevin Hart, right? Moonbird, yeah. That's one that's probably so, yeah. I mean, that's kind of dead, yeah. There's still 2 grand a pop, though. Still a decent amount of money. The other one, too, the, I don't know if you could still even find the Chad. Remember the Chad NFT, Chads? It doesn't even come up. It wasn't those Chads. It was different Chads. It was some different Chads, man. Yeah, no, was it these Chads? I don't know. No, those are in Sol. Oh, how about the Claynosaurs? Is it? Oh my! I don't even know what the frick. Can you? Or is it Clayno? It was this, yeah, Claynosaurs. But oh yeah, it was that. It was that. That, yeah, it just completely fell off. So, I mean, NFTs as a whole, very risky business. It looks like 10 ETH, maybe a bottom. But, yeah. Oh, yeah, they bought Moonbirds, right? Is that it? Kevin Rose? Okay. I know. Wasn't Kevin Rose a guest on Tim Ferriss's podcast a lot in the past? Is that how I know? But yeah, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I mean, the thing with Bitcoin here is it looks decent for continuation. We just got to be a little, careful with the 3-day, the 4-day here. But it kind of looks like you're going to break upward to 80-something K. And then, I mean, if we wanted to kind of, like election numbers, can we, 80 to 100K could be the election number here. 80 to 100K could be the election number. Fed pivot could be finally a 30 to 50% correction. Potentially back down to where we are right now, so we gotta keep that in mind. But yeah. Anyway, guys, really appreciate you guys. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. If you want to join the Discord, if you want to get 1 free month, if you sign up to any of the links down below to the exchanges, deposit at least $100. We're gonna give you 1 free month in the Discord. Just open a support ticket in the Discord with your UID, and we'll get you sorted. So really appreciate you guys tuning in. Always great to talk to you guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend.